On Larry King Now, the RoastMaster General, Jeff Ross.
Larry King is to comedy what Martin Luther King is to comedy.
Anyone ever had a grudge against you because...
You know, Buddy Hackett said something very smart to me once. He said, if somebody gets mad about a roast joke, you'll never know it. You'll just never hear from them again. Don't you want to see the president laugh at himself just for a few minutes? He calls me all the time, by the way. He called me on Valentine's Day. He said, Jeff, how do you spell Melania?
Plus his comedic partner in crime, Dave Attell.
Larry, look at this, huh, Jeff? Jeff's always on me about, hey.
It's a phone.
Oh, who is it, Larry? Oh,
Hi,
hello,
Dave.
Larry. See?
It's
See?
you.
The last time he opened his phone, he found out that OJ was going south on the 405.
All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Today's special guest, the RoastMaster General, Jeff Ross. He succeeded, who was that old? George Jessel. The comedian, writer, director, and producer is known for his Comedy Central roasts of stars like Justin Bieber, Roseanne Barr, Joan Rivers, Charlie Sheen, and of course, Donald Trump, which we were on together. He's expanded the Comedy Central roasting brand into a competition show called Jeff Ross Presents Roast Battle and specials that have turned roasting into social commentary, including Jeff Ross Roasts Cops, Jeff Ross Roasts the Border. His newest project is Netflix's stand-up series alongside his friend and fellow comedian Dave Attell called Bumping Mics with Jeff Ross and Dave Attell, and Dave will join us later in the show. Thank you for coming, Jeff.
Larry, thank you.
How did you find roasting? How did you and roasting come together?
That's
You're
a great
stand-up
question.
comic, you're very funny. Why roasting?
Well, I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, where everybody talks smack all the time. And I was the son of a caterer, and I was the boss's son, so everybody would make fun of me. And I had to learn how to take a joke and then dish it back. And I knew I had an affinity for that. And over time, I got to high school. A bully was picking on everybody, including me, and he would jump out of the dark corners of the hallways and he'd bop you right in the crotch. And I said, what's with this maniac? And I was taking karate lessons, and I said, the next time he gets me, I'm gonna hit him back. But he hit me so hard I went down. And there's a crowd watching, and I couldn't get up. So I started making fun of him. His hairy knuckles, his big forehead, and he never bothered me again. And I said, wait a second. Roasting is self-defense. I didn't know it was roasting at the time. Years go by, I become a comedian, and Jean-Pierre Trabeau, the executive director of the Friars Club at the time, saw me perform with Freddie Roman at a Friars golf tournament for Bob Fitzsimmons, Greg's dad, a good friend of mine. And Freddie gave me a terrible introduction. And I went up there and started ripping on him. They call him Freddie Roman because you can hear him in Italy. He's so loud and stuff like that. And a month or two goes by, and I get a call from Jean-Pierre saying, the Friars would like to invite you to their next roast. We think you have what it takes. We're roasting Steven Seagal. Now I'm thinking, I don't know anything about Steven Seagal. And then they said, well, Buddy Hackett will be there. Henny Youngman will be there. Milton Berle is the roast master. I said, I'm in. I had to go to the Museum of Broadcasting because there was no YouTube back then. And I had to look up how these roasts work. And once I saw I could make fun of everybody else, I was in. I found my Yankee Stadium.
Now, roasting is different than Rickles, right?
How do you mean?
Don Rickles slashed people in the audience, but he was not a roaster, per se. Roasting is special.
I think roasting has more to do with people volunteering to be a part of it. When people say, I want to be in the hot seat.
Yeah. I've had it happen to me.
You have?
Yes.
You're always a great sport, Larry.
You have roasted me well.
Larry King is to comedy what Martin Luther King is to comedy.
Can you ever go too far?
Of course.
That's the whole purpose, right?
Well, I always want people to leave a roast saying, that was so much fun, guess what Jeff Ross said about me?
And they always say that. It's Jeff Ross is the king of the roast.
You don't want to, thank you, you don't want to break the skin. You just want to scratch it.
Angela Lansbury was just here. We did a wonderful interview, and you told me that in your earliest stand-up, you did a joke about her.
This is on YouTube. In 1995, I was struggling to get on television, and somebody canceled on David Letterman, and they called me on 18 hours notice. And I had a great opening joke about New York. I said, I love New York. I love this city. You never know what you're going to see. I was walking around downtown this morning. I saw Angela Lansbury in an antique shop, $1,200. And that was 23 years ago. And she still looks great.
Anyone ever had a grudge against you because of
Oh, boy. A grudge because of the roast? You know, Buddy Hackett said something very smart to me once. He said, if somebody gets mad about a roast joke, you'll never know it. You'll just never hear from them again.
Have you been roasted?
I don't think I could take it. I'm very sensitive, although I do take the most shots. And my partner on this Bumping Mike show,
Yeah,
Dave,
we're going to meet him.
he constantly roasts me, as you'll see.
We both did the Trump roast.
Right. You were great.
You were great, but you're always great. What do you make of what happened since then?
You mean The Apprentice getting canceled? I've roasted Donald Trump a couple of times, and as you recall, he was a great sport.
Yeah, he was.
He took it well. His rebuttal was funny. I don't know if it's power or what it is,
Not the Donald I knew.
he doesn't have the same sense of humor about
No.
these things anymore, which worries me, especially now that they're not doing the White House Correspondents'
Yeah,
Dinner.
what do you make of that?
Because, Larry, this was a great time, and you've seen all the presidents come and go, right?
I've been to most of them.
From I would say, probably from Teddy Roosevelt on, right? You remember?
Go ahead, Jeff.
This was the one time in America where you could really exercise free speech. A comedian, a clown, a joker, if you will, can talk truth to power, can make fun of the king, if you will, the president.
Right.
Which in many countries, you'd have your tongue cut off. But this was such a beautiful thing that the White House Correspondents' Dinner
Well,
represented.
Trump doesn't want that.
And he won't do it. And I have a feeling that if I was roasting, he would come, because he knows I will take it right to the line. And when I tell jokes in my stand-up, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat or somewhere in the middle, the same people laugh at the same jokes.
Is there someone you'd like to roast?
Yes.
Who?
I would love to roast people I idolize. Bob Dylan would be a great roast. You would be a great roast.
You could roast Bob Dylan?
Are you kidding? The Voice, he's old, he's a legend. He'd be a great roast.
Next, Jeff on his comedic roots and his answers to some of your questions sent in on social media, and later we'll be joined by his comedy partner, Dave Attell. Stay with us. We're back with the great Jeff Ross. You're going to see him in Bumping Mics, a 3-part series on Netflix with Dave Attell, who we'll meet in the next segment.
You'll love, I don't mean to jump in, you will love this because it's about friendship.
What we're going to talk about.
And the way you and Don Rickles would go at each other, you would set him up every now and then, you would take a swing at him, but that's what the comedy is moving towards these days.
You said in the past, humor is your survival technique.
Yeah.
That you use comedy as a pressure release valve, and life really kept you from being insane.
Yeah. You know, I lost my parents as a teenager, and I grew up in New Jersey, where everybody thinks they're a comedian, you know. Bustin' chops is how we talk. It wasn't until I went to Boston University that I realized, oh, I am funny. I thought everybody was funny. But comedy can get you through the most tense situations. And
Especially now in America, we could use it.
I think so. And that's why comedy's doing so well now.
Yeah, all the late night shows.
As journalism is torn apart and divisive and opinionated, and as we live in uncertain times, comedy, they say laughter's the best medicine. You would never want your medicine watered down. You want it potent.
Damn.
And I think comedy right now is that potent thing that we all want.
Like canceling the White House car is a classic example of. We want that.
Yeah. Don't you want to see the president laugh at himself just for a few minutes? He calls me all the time, by the way.
Oh.
President. He called me on Valentine's Day. He said, Jeff, how do you spell Melania? He called me the other day. He said, Jeff, am I allowed to put the White House on Airbnb? Yeah, I've roasted him twice. I've known him for not as long as you, but I've known him for 15 years. And I feel like any second he's going to call me up and offer me a cabinet position.
You should have been at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. They should have had you.
I would have been good.
Because you take on everybody.
Of course. Equal opportunity offending, Larry.
Who was Rickles one of your inspirations? Who was an inspiration to you?
I loved Rickles. But Rickles would always like to bust my chops about the fact that I was better friends with Buddy Hackett. As soon as I'd come walking over, Don would say, Barbara, this is the guy who's in love with Buddy Hackett.
We have some social media questions for you. At Song by Neil asks on Twitter, is that your real face? Okay, so...
You think I like looking like Rick Moranis and Walter Matthau had a baby? Yes, it's my real face. Is that your real question?
That was Neil Diamond. By the way, at OK Grind on Twitter, was there ever a time you felt scared for your personal safety while roasting the inmates?
Yes.
You went to a prison?
Yes.
What happened there?
I went to Brazos County Jail, maximum security jail in Texas, where they take law enforcement as seriously as I take roasting. I found one jail in the entire country that would let me come in. And they said, don't come for a month because we want to use your show as incentive for good behavior. So if you behave, you can come. I walk on stage, everyone's in orange. I say, where my murderers at? 3 guys in the front row, very serious, right? So now I can't show fear because I got an hour show to do. Some of them are in there for not paying child support, and some are in there for murder. So you don't know who's who. And I don't judge people. I'm a big believer in second chances, but I had to really mark my territory.
So how'd you handle it?
So I pull the guy up. He's got a teardrop tattoo, which means he killed somebody, basically. And I'm looking at him, and I have some jokes in my head, but you can see in the footage, I'm shaking. I'm nervous. So to show him I mean business, I immediately went to the balcony where the guys with the swastika tattoos were up there. And I said, you know, the Holocaust is over, but that tattoo, that's gonna last forever. The most Jewish I ever was in front of these guys.
Were they receptive?
I earned their respect and I earned their laughs. And I feel like even though we're a million miles apart, culturally, we humanized each other. Laughter really does bring people together.
At Robert R1776 on Twitter, who's your #1 favorite comedian of all time?
Chris Rock.
At King Craig 965 on Twitter, is there one line you will not cross in comedy?
The Mason-Dixon line.
At Ryan Pig on Twitter, which United States president would you have wanted to roast the most, dead or alive?
Abe Lincoln.
Well, how would you have roasted Lincoln?
Well, first of all, he should have emancipated that mole from his face. Abe Lincoln is one of my heroes. Nobody's trying to pull his statues down. He rescued America from itself. And I keep the Library of Congress portrait of him over my toilet. He inspires me every day as I go through my morning constitution.
After the break, we're bumping mics as Jeff's buddy Dave Attell joins us to talk about their new joint Netflix comedy special. Stay with us on this edition of Larry King Now. Here comes Dave. Joining us now is Dave Attell. Together, they are bringing us Netflix's newest comedy special series, Bumping Mics, with Jeff Ross and Dave Attell. Dave, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You said stand-up comedy the way it should be. Should almost be like this, one-of-a-kind disposable experience.
I said what?
That's what I'm reading a quote from you.
I'm sorry.
all right.
I'm a physical comic.
No one ever spit out water on the history of the show.
You, first of all, you are an icon, and I'll say right now that we are. This is really. Would you say that this is like a bucket list moment?
It is.
Thank you very much. Okay, what's bumping mics about?
You've seen many teams over the times, right? From decade to decade, you've seen them all. Martin and Lewis.
Simon and Gomorrah.
Abbott and Costello.
Abbott and Costello, okay. We are nothing like that, okay?
We're two Abbotts looking for a Costello.
Yeah, we're basically a free-form team. We don't have the same, I'd say, cachet that they do, but we're giving it our all.
So what? You're not telling me about what happens on the show.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
We go on stage together.
He's right, I was dancing around.
As a team, we go on stage together.
Right.
And we set each other up for jokes. Some jokes we do together. Sometimes we take turns. And sometimes we bring up celebrity guests. Sometimes we bring up family members. The first episode has my Aunt Donna on stage, Bruce Willis, Amy Schumer, Michelle Wolf, all packed into one episode.
For what purpose, Dave?
Very good, Larry. What it is to fill the time. I mean, no, we're. I guess what it is we try and keep it free form. We do jokes. We're both comics, and we both have our own thing going on. You know, I'm a headliner, he's a headliner. But together, we kind of mesh it together, and we. We set each other up for bits. We work the crowd, and I guess what it is, it gives like a spontaneity, like a fresh feel to like a whole format.
It happened organically.
Yeah, I guess we just did it for fun, and then
it's only a 3-part series.
Yeah.
Why not forever?
Maybe.
Right. Exactly. Well, you know how TV is, right?
We don't like splitting the money.
Do you like Netflix? They're great, right?
Yeah, no, I think Netflix is definitely, for this generation, that's how they watch TV on their own time. It's not like the classic, it's programmed and you got to watch it at a certain. It's probably better, and there's also very little filter over there. You can say what you want. So in today's world, it's a good.
So you have Michelle Wolf and Paul Rudd and
Bob Saget, Gilbert Gottfried.
I understand Paul Rudd got a little drunk.
He did. He came to the first show. We did 2 shows a night, and he wanted to stay for the second show. So at that point, he was schnockered, and we just dragged him out of the audience, and he winds up being very adorable and very funny.
Yeah, you know what? I've done my drinking. He's like an adorable drunk. It's like annoying how good a guy he is. He's a nice guy. He's very talented, and even when he has a couple of drinks, he's even more adorable. So he
was a 40-year-old virgin. Dave's an 80-year-old virgin. Dave, I know you're a baseball fan. Doesn't Dave look like an umpire who can't find the stadium?
Yeah. How did the two of you meet?
Well, we met in the Yiddish theater. Finally, I made him laugh. There you go.
I'm laughing. I still can't get over the water. You did that very good.
Anyway, we were both comics, so I guess we met in the club world. And
Dave was hosting the open mics in the early 90s, and I was a beginner. And I wanted to emulate Dave. If I knew I was on a show with Dave, I was doing well. You asked me who my favorite comedian was before. Dave is one of my all-time favorites because he always has new material, and when he gets a solid joke, it's always the perfect amount of words, and he always says it fresh every time. And I love being on stage. He ups my game, Larry. That's the point.
And what does Jeff do for you?
Well, I mean, look at him. I'm like a Tony Curtis compared to this guy. I mean, no, Jeff is great. He's a master of timing, and as we all know, Jeff definitely completes the package because I'm not really a promoter. I'm not really into the scene. He definitely knows these people. They come out for him, and he's fearless. I will say this on stage. I usually keep a filter up. There's things I won't, there is a line for me. For him, he runs at it, and I respect that. I really do respect it.
Do you two work well together when you're on stage together? Do you work off each other?
Well, we're doing great now, aren't we?
Yeah, you do.
Look at the camera guys. They can't
You're
stop
Abbott and Abbott or Costello and Costello?
That's a good question. We struggle with. I feel like I'm more of a straight man to Dave.
Really?
But nobody really says that to me.
Well, I don't think we should. I think we should keep it more gender fluid.
Straight person. I'm more of a straight person.
Exactly. But what I was going to say is we both have like skill set, but I think when we're good at that a lot of other people aren't, is like we can take the situation and find the funny, whether it's in the crowd, if it's on stage, we will use it and we will make it work. And I think that's something you don't see much in today's comedy because it's very set piece, kind of like storytelling. You know, the crowds are not as wild as they used to be. Do you agree with that or not?
Yeah, I do. Can I see Bumping Mics now on Netflix?
Yeah, it just came out on Netflix. I like being on stage with Dave because he's easy to riff with, because he looks like a zookeeper that feeds the animals cigarettes.
Can you see the abuse I'm getting here, Larry? I mean,
Dave, that outfit makes a statement.
what is it?
I know how to delete a hard drive.
Next, strange fan encounters, best and worst advice, guilty pleasures, and more in a round of our fan favorite segment, If You Only Knew, with Jeff Ross and Dave Attell. Bumping Mics with Jeff Ross and Dave Attell is available now on Netflix.
Yeah, baby.
Don't click away, we'll be right back. Don't forget, Bumping Mics, available on Netflix now. We both have
Yes.
flip phones.
Larry, look at this. Huh, Jeff? Jeff's always on me about, hey.
It's a phone.
Oh, who is it? Larry? Oh,
Hi,
hello,
Dave.
Larry. See?
It's
See?
you.
There you go.
Are you getting some internet?
Oh, in the old days of texting, there's no person.
There you go.
Tell him what's coming in on your news feed.
Actually,
What do you need a news feed? I read the newspaper. Okay, ready?
The last time he opened his phone, he found out that OJ was going south on the 405.
I don't know where he comes up with them. But isn't it great, Larry?
Oh,
Here we are, two classics, right? With these phones, these young kids over here, these millennials, right? They're like, oh, I need a phone.
I'm a year younger than him.
Okay, we're going to play a round of If You Only Knew. Funniest or strangest fan encounter?
Fan encounter. Ooh, a guy who jumps out of the bathroom at the airport and says, "My brother's in the bathroom. He just got out of jail. When he comes out, will you roast him?"
Someone said that to you?
Yeah.
What about you?
I was the guy. That's how we met. I didn't want to say it right away in segment
Proudest
one.
accomplishment?
Wow, I guess.
He bought his mother a cat.
Can I answer one?
Well, you-
No, I was going to say taking care of my family, I guess, would be, buy my
yours?
mom a house.
Getting Dave to LA during daylight.
What's food you can't stand?
Oh, actually, that's a tough one because food I can't stand, to be honest, I like it pretty much basic. You know what I'm talking about? Burgers, fries,
I
that kind of
hate
stuff.
eggs.
You don't like eggs?
don't like eggs.
Really? But I thought you and your buddies, you brunch all the time.
Yeah, but I don't eat eggs.
And what do you have?
I have bagels. I have
Well.
cereal. I have things. I
Yeah.
have French toast.
I don't like olives because when I was growing up, I worked in my dad's catering hall, and I'd have to make 400 salads all weekend, and I'd have to put an olive, and then I smelled like olives.
Wow.
What's something that scares you?
What scares me? I guess eventually not being able to do stand-up, that kind of scares me. So I know those days are coming.
What scares you?
Dave without his hat on.
Here you go, America. Yes. Woo!
He answers the door at a haunted house.
Look at this, Larry.
What's the best piece of advice you ever got?
Enjoy the process.
Yeah, I would say the road is really the adventure in itself.
Worst piece of advice?
Oh, I got it. Enron, go all in. I made him laugh twice. There you go. Twice.
Someone from history you wish you could take to lunch?
Oh my God, you, Larry.
Well,
I want to
No eggs. I heard
Who
no
was
eggs.
a more vicious leader, Donald Trump or Cleopatra?
take one or the other. Most starstruck you've ever been?
Wow, that's a
Oh,
tough
I
one.
remember. Our show in L.A. Remember backstage?
Who?
We're backstage. I got starstruck. And I just said, "Oh my gosh, Barbara Streisand, this is such an honor. Can I get a picture with you?" And she said, "I'm Mickey Rourke."
We'll be right back. Oh, sorry. This is great. Just three Jews hanging out.
What's an animal you wish you could talk to?
I love elephants. My mom used to say if the trunk was up, it's good luck.
Well, I would go with owls.
Why?
Because owls, first of all, we don't eat them, So they're kind of, what do you think an owl tastes like anyhow?
I wouldn't eat an owl.
I think it tastes like a chicken that reads, like a well-read chicken. 3, 4.
Where would we
laughing.
find you on a day off?
Oh boy, you would find me sitting in the Friars Club having a chicken salad sandwich.
In New York. Great
sir.
food at the
Great
Fireside.
food.
Where were you on a day off?
Where I usually am on a day on at the bus station. Staying out there.
You know how many times this week, Dave, the cops stopped him on the street in L.A. and tried to walk him to a shelter?
Can you believe this? Wow. Coming from a guy who looks like he dropped out of the movie Taken. Look at this guy. Come on.
We have your daughter.
A piece of technology you can't seem to wrap your head around.
Oh, well, that's easy.
Yeah, easy, yeah.
Dave's
Phones,
brain.
Phones, computers, centrifuge. I mean, the
Centrifuge.
list goes on and on.
What do you hate?
I'm pretty open to technology, but I'm not good at, like, fixing stuff. I can't change a
can't
flat tire. I can't.
Neither could I.
No.
He knows his way around a microwave. Look at him.
Who would you switch places with for a day?
I would probably want to be a rock star, like Drake.
Yes, that would be
a fun
cool.
one.
What would you want to be?
I really don't know. I kind of like, I just always want to be myself.
That's
Pretty
good,
much.
Dave.
Thanks. See?
Childhood celebrity crush.
Nice.
Farrah Fawcett.
Wow.
She was so beautiful. Once when I met her at a roast, I couldn't do the jokes. I was so starstruck.
She was beautiful.
I had to take those jokes out.
Dave?
The entire cast of the Waltons. The way they said goodnight to each other, it was heartwarming. Only we could appreciate that one.
Secret talent.
Secret talent? Oh my God. Listen, we're amongst friends. I can fart on command.
That explains it.
And I can do impressions. I can fart like Oprah. I can fart like Bill Gates. I can.
Dave, you have a secret talent?
Do I? Well, it's not like a Cirque du Soleil talent or anything like that.
No.
No, I can smoke in the shower. So.
Guilty pleasure.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. Guilty pleasure.
Well, back when I drank, it was definitely whiskey. I loved it, and I did a show about drinking, and I would go out and drink all over the place. It was a lot of fun, and you know how it is now, right? It's just like such a different world with drinking.
Why'd you stop?
I was blood was coming out of the wrong holes in my body. I don't know. Is this a family show? But yeah, no, it was time to quit. And I'll say this is that like. Ever since that, now it would be chocolate. I love chocolate. Cake.
Me too. Guilty
too?
pleasure.
Cheesecake with ice cream.
Yeah.
I could eat it after a big show. Dave will know this. We don't party. We go out and eat. And I want to eat a piece
We're
of
big
cheesecake
eaters.
with ice cream.
Is there something you long believed to be true and realized wasn't?
Well, I thought you were in the movie The Hobbit, but you're not. When that kid took the ring from you, you must have been really upset. No, I'll tell you one thing that you're absolutely right, and I think you'll agree with me. The one thing that is true is that hard work alone is not the whole thing. Luck does play an important
You're
part.
damn right.
Boom. Jeff,
Paul
you're out.
Newman said any successful person talking about his life and doesn't use the word luck is a liar.
Right. I do believe that. But you got to be prepared. So when the luck happens,
Take advantage
You
of
hit it.
Right. Is there something you long believed to be true and realized wasn't?
as life gets longer, Larry, I realize that I used to always want to be available. Dave understands this. As a comedian, you want to get the call. I can do it. I'll be there. But as I become more successful and more experienced, planning, doing what's good for you. Bob Saget told me that. He said, "Do what's good for you." So
We all should learn from that.
to me, it's about doing what's good for me.
Dave, great meeting you, man.
An honor.
Great to see you. Say hi to Sean, okay?
I will. I'm going to call him for you.
Happy birthday, Larry.
Thank you.
Can you do this with us? Can you bump? Because this is what we do on our show, and now you're part of our team. So boom, boom.
Thank
Bumping mics, Larry King.
Bumping. Thanks to my guests, Jeff Ross and Dave Attell. Be sure to watch Bumping Mics with Dave Ross and Dave Attell. They're both here. It's a good title. It's available now on Netflix, and as always, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things, and I'll see you next time.